Welcome to the Value Meta. Today we are playing a budget deck designed for a new account on Arena. So this is budget Cool Monument, and this is basically mono red monument, mono red discard. So this is the full deck list, and then I'll show you the rare to mythic breakdown. So we have the full breakdown is 22 basic lands, 3 mythics, 12 rares, 8 uncommons, and 15 commons. So you could start a new account on Arena and instantly make this with the initial wildcards from what you get. And it's a good deck that you could upgrade into a perhaps multicolored deck eventually, but this is a good starting point. So we'll go through it piece by piece. Let's start with what the core of the deck is. We are built around 2 engines, Cool but Rude and the Monument to Endurance. So, for those who aren't aware, many of you will be, Monument to Endurance is a 3-mana artifact and says whenever you discard a card, you can choose one that has not been chosen this turn. Draw a card, make a treasure, or make each opponent lose 3 life. Conversely, Cool but Rude is a class for 1 in the red that whenever a creature attacks, we can discard a card to draw a card. We can then pay 2 mana to level it up to level 2 and get whenever you discard a card, this will deal 2 damage to each opponent. And for another 2 mana, we can level up to level 3, which will basically give us a gamble. We can take any card of our deck, put it in our hand, and we have to discard a card at random. So these 2 cards together, we're built around. Let's go through the rest of the deck with this. So, we're going to start with more of our higher end payoffs here. We have 2 things that are, well, we have 1 4-drop, which is Chandra the Spark Hunter. So, this is the Ether Spark Chandra that didn't see a lot of play. She is 4 mana, 3 in a red, for a 4 loyalty planeswalker with a static ability that says at the beginning of combat you can animate a vehicle and make it a creature, give it haste till the end of turn. +2, you can sack an artifact or discard a card to draw a card. 0 to make a free 2 vehicle token, and a -7 ultimate that will give you an emblem with whenever an artifact enters, deal 3 damage. Very solid planeswalker. Clearly we're here for the +2, but also what's very nice about her is once you've zeroed her once, you will always have that static ability to do 3 damage out of anywhere, and if you have Cool but Rude out, it gives you a free loot on the attack as well as her +2 ability. Fable of the Mirrorbreaker, make a 2/2 shaman that gives us treasure, then we can loot for up to 2 cards, and then we flip it into a 2/2 that can copy other non-legendary creatures. So, like I said, here for the loots, but these are additional value things. We have a little bit of card advantage / card neutrality here with Demand Answers and Thrill of Possibility. These are instant speed spells that let us discard a card to draw 2 cards. Ideally, we want these out when we have one of our engines down to transform that into damage or additional mana or card advantage, depending on what we have out. We then have a little bit of interaction to interact with the board. We have Burst Lightning as a nice common that can just burn small creatures if we're taking a lot of damage. Or, if we do, we can throw it at face and even kick it in the late game for a lot of damage to do there. We then have a Lightning Axe, which is a 1 mana discard a card, do 5 damage. So this is great creature removal and triggers all our discard synergies. So a must play. Then we have our 1-drop creatures. So this is where we get a bit interesting. Marauding Mako is our ideal 1-drop because this card says whenever you discard a card, you put that many counters on this creature. So if we play this on 1, discard a couple of cards, turn 2 and 3, we can easily make this a 5/5 or even bigger. It can really get out of hand. Our other 1-drop is the Volduran Epicure. We're running this not because it does 1 damage, but it makes a blood token. And the nice thing about this is that blood token is an instant speed loot at any point where we want to trigger our discard effects. If we can flip a Fable, the Volduran will be a little thing that we can then use to trigger the attack trigger on the Cool but Rude, and will also give us another blood to loot later. So that's the synergy of that deck and how it's built around. Finally, we just have our mana base, as I said before, is super basic, 22 basic mountains, and that is the deck. It is a very fun deck. It is pretty glass cannony. There are some matchups that it completely folds to. We can get run over very quickly, but it is pretty resilient, and I think it's a fun deck to build if you want to play a little different style of mono red. Okay, so let's get to gameplay. Game 1 here with budget, cool cool monument. This hand is actually brilliant. We have all our synergy pieces straight off the bat. Very good. So let's start with a basic mountain. It appears to be Orzhov, so it's Orzhov Aristocrat. So yep, let's immediately kill this because they'll start sacking stuff. It's probably a raise the pass deck, so we are on a race here. Let's get Cool But Rude down immediately. The one thing about this deck that kind of struggles with, it probably needs additional triggers. So let's go with the monument here. There's an Enduring Innocence, so we're taking 1. There's our 4th land, so this is where things get crazy. Let's level up the Cool But Rude. Play the... Alright, let's Frill of Possibility, discarding a Frill of Possibility. We'll draw a card to gain advantage. Draws us a mountain. And a Vidoran Epicure and another mountain. There's a Delny. Oh, that's going to get rough. Well, we can't block that. Alright, so they're back to 21. Let's play a second monument. Then let's play the Vidalcan Epicure here. Then we can hold up this lightning on a second turn. Because this is going to be some... the Voice of Victory. So immediately, let's kill the lifelinker so they can't gain any more life. Discard the land. 2 triggers for monument. Let's just drain. And we'll choose to draw. See if we can get anything good from this. Probably should have chosen treasure in hindsight. Oh, they sacked that in response. Yep, double triggers. Delny with an Aristocrat is very scary. Double Voice of Victory triggers as well will be very scary. So they've got 17 life here. I'm not going to do that because I've got to see. I think we can kill them here. It's not unfeasible that we could kill them. So, with that in mind, I think our best bet is let's go immediately to combat, attack with the Vidalcan. We'll discard this land. That will trigger... Oh, third monument's insane. So let's make them lose life. That is... Put them down to 9. They're going to take out the Epicure as they should. Play the next monument. Alright. So... On their upkeep, before they can draw a card, I'm going to cycle the Marauding Mako. And that'll be 11 damage. Yeah, good game. Oof, we went off there. We found a lot of monuments. Second match here, we are up against a blue player playing Mill. So this is going to be a quick race. So this match really shows the power of the Mako. So Mako comes down on 1. They Maddening Cacophony, mills us some more 8 cards. Play the Cool But Rude. We'll attack. We will loot because it grows our Mako. Second Cool But Rude here is going to put a lot of damage on the board. We do need to find more lands though. Make us mill 5 cards. Play a Secret Keeper. Alright. I'm going to discard a card with the Lightning Axe. Discard the second Cool But Rude. Then we'll go to combat. Actually, we're going to Lightning Strike because this is a race. So let's just get as much damage as possible. Swing in. Loot away the Demand Dancers. Draw another card. They're up to 4. Play the land. So next turn, Monument and an attack here is probably lethal because Monument will be 3 damage plus 2 damage from Cool But Rude. Oh wait, no, we have to level up Cool But Rude. Oh, this might not be it enough. Okay. Discarding the Chandra. Draws a mountain. We will drain them for 3. We go up to 5, puts them down to 4. So it's basically, can they mill us out right now or do we win? We still have 20 cards in the deck. They have a Jace. That'll be 15 cards. 5 times 3 is 15. We survive and they take it and we've won. Close game. Final match here with red Cool But Rude budget. This hand has double Mako, so this could run away really quick. We don't have any of our engines. And our opponent is on a mulligan, so this is pretty good here. One thing I will say is Mako, don't underestimate the power of just running out a couple of Makos. Because permanently growing them every turn, is absolutely insane. So, we're just going to go to combat and attack. They don't do anything. I'm going to discard the Lightning Axe here, get rid of one of the Fables. Should have probably played the Mako first, That's a bit of a misplay on my side because I could have had 2/2/2s now. Alright, Badger Mole Cups. This could be either the Ouroboros deck or it could be the... Alright, I'm going to use this to discard a card and take out that Badger Mole Cub because I've seen what that deck does when they get going. I'm going to discard the land here and hold on to the Fable because if I draw a land, I want a more active play. So basically, here's how it is. All my lands come into play on tap, so I know that this will be... Unless it's a Burst Lightning, which isn't actually a discard effect. So we'll swing in for 5 here. Hit the Kiora. Then use the Burst Lightning. I'm assuming that the Kiora was essential to a setup here. Yeah, because we are slowing them down. There's another Kiora. And they don't have a third land. Alright, there's another land. So now we have enough for the Fable. With that in mind, since we can't actually kill the Kiora here, I think it's better if we just go face and put a clock on them. Mono Green Devotion can have an explosive turn, but if we can just deal enough damage initially, we should be alright. They're going to untap a basic to play a Growth Troll, draw a card as a Monument. I think I'm not going to discard, I'm going to play the Monument. And I'm going to swing in because if I draw any effect here that does damage, yeah, 1 discard now is lethal with the Monument. They also can't really swing in. They've got to hold back blockers. Otherwise, we're just going to overrun this. Yeah, no attacks. Oh, they just concede. We got it there against the Demon of Mono Green.